Phubbing is a word that I've recently learned. Phubbing is the practice of ignoring one's companion or companions in order to pay attention to one's phone or other mobile device. And my next guest, Dr. Jenny Wu, an emotional intelligence researcher, says phubbing may be ruining your relationships and in some ways helping us lose that magic. And she's here with me now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Kelly.
Yes, so phubbing. Tell me about this name and how you first became interested in this behavior.
Yeah, well, phubbing, which is short for phone snubbing, right, is really paying attention to our phone instead of the person next to us. And as an emotional intelligence researcher, this is what I study in terms of understanding interpersonal communications and how we behave. And essentially, when you're phubbing, you are telling the other person that, you know what, my phone is more interesting, right?
Yes.
More important than you or the conversation we're carrying. And you can imagine that really stings.
Definitely.
And it's gotten so prevalent. I mean, you and I are guilty.
I know, I think we're all guilty of it. And it is bad when you're not able to just maybe articulate a little more like, hey, I just need to look at this quick, and you're just sitting there scrolling. If you're scrolling on TikTok in front of someone instead of having a conversation, maybe not the best. So how much do you think this is happening? Is this pretty prevalent, you think?
It's incredibly pervasive and prevalent. In fact, 1/3 of us say that we regularly get phubbed multiple times a day.
Wow.
And this is especially pronounced in our Gen Zs who, over 91% report that they have been phubbed, right? And of course, we are phubbing as well. And the research very recently say, with all this data we're collecting, is that these phubbing behaviors are actually putting our partners at risk of loneliness and psychological distress. And like you said, it's so compulsive that when we do it, we don't realize it. So number one, we don't realize it.
Right.
And number two, there's also studies showing that phubbing behaviors are linked to lower social intelligence, meaning that we don't even see it as disrespectful, so that we're doing it to perhaps escape from face-to-face interactions, right? From having deeper conversations and even sort of a lack of self-control. So it really is a problem across romantic partnership, parent-child relationship, and even in the workplace.
Definitely. And so all those dangers, I feel like, are so important to note, because I guess you wouldn't think or hope that you just scrolling on a phone or not paying attention to what's in front of you could have a negative impact with that. So let's talk about the solutions. And with your solutions, do you think these are good for adults and kids alike?
Absolutely. These are very simple, actionable solutions that as families from toddlers to twilight years, we can all implement. And so easy way to remember are the 3 Ps, which plan ahead, right? Because we have these compulsive need to check. Sometimes we don't even realize it.
We're obsessed.
Obsessed, right? So how do you stop the obsession, right? So you go if-then statement. So if I'm at the dinner table, then I'm not going to check my phone until we're done eating, right? That kind of if-then in different scenarios. And then you also want to repair these relationships, because sometimes we just sneakily grab that phone, right? What do you do? So when you actually become noticing that your eyes are on the phone instead of on the other person, what do you say, right? If that happens, then what do you say? How can you repair? And then we have pocketed to add some friction to, make it easier to not hold that phone, is to just simply put it in another room. Keep it out of the bedroom, right? Or set time limits to it.
That screen time limit, almost like the same thing, but even holding
Kids
the phone.
and adults, yes. And the last one is to pause it. When we hear our name called, we attentive to it, right? Same thing. When we see a notification, it's like hearing your name. So pause, mute, block your notification, and do some good old conversations and card games and practice your coping skills. And what do you do when you're bored or when you're feeling down?
Definitely. And I think you make a good point. Like when you're getting notifications now, people even have like an Apple Watch, and the buzz is coming right to you. And so you think you have to have that instant gratification and you're on high alert, I guess, with that.
Exactly.
And what do you have here with these cards that you wanted to mention too? How is this helpful?
Sure. So I've developed some good old-fashioned card games to keep us off the phone and really have that joy of simplicity and human-to-human interactions. So these are to build emotional intelligence, social skills, and coping skills. And what do you do when you have that urge to pull out your phone, as well as relationship skills?
You are so amazing. This was so insightful. Thank you so much for being here, Doctor.
It's a delight.